Dragon. I don't do that tongue thing.
Dragon, not lizard. I don't do that tongue thing.
And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Raya and the Last Dragon, a new Disney original movie coming out this Friday. In a realm known as Kumandra, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the last dragon. So Don Hall and Carlos Lopez are the directors here. We had a couple of directors and I think a few others in the sidelines, a couple of others actually. They directed stuff like FX's Legion, the X-Men TV series, also Big Hero 6. So there's this amalgamation of imaginations that's come together to direct a very interesting film. Up front, I should say, every time I do a Disney review, I feel like I comment on how good their animation style is. And that's because they don't just leave it, they don't just settle for the status quo, they're always upping their game. And the first thing you'll notice, probably when you start watching this, is the water. I mean, it seems like an odd thing to comment about. It's like, how great the water looks. The water looks so real, guys. It's just that every time you see the water droplets or the surrounding mountains or the luscious, greenery, you're like, am I looking at something that's real? Is this live action? It's the blurring the lines were pretty much there. Obviously, you'll see the animation in the styles of the characters that they've created, and I really like the very realistic but still animated humanoids, the caricatures that they've created of their characters. And you are pretty much engaged with the characters. You believe who they are. You are on this journey, this adventure with them right from the beginning. You're on Raya's side. It's the typical journey adventure where your character has to defeat the bad. I'm doing non-spoilers, and meets other characters, and they join up in the group, and they've got to save the day. There's a fantastic redemption arc on a multiple sides. So there was, for the most part, you're going to guess what's going to happen in this film. Not that much is going to take you by surprise, but there were a couple of moments I was like, oh, that's nice, that's something different. And also when it comes to the heartfelt moments, I wasn't like, there was no point I was crying, but right at the end I did feel an array of emotions. I was happy, I was a little bit, yeah, that feels good, and I was like, okay, I get what you were trying to say with this. And that is what the film really is. For the youngsters, they're going to love the adventure. I mean, the adults will as well. The adventure, the storyline, the journey, the fruition of the storyline, the redemption arcs. The youngsters will feel that and go, yeah, this is cool. The characters, they all feel much bigger than life, from dragons to the little creatures that are very larger than life, or actually larger than life. All of the character designs, the creature designs, the kids are going to love the vibrancy of the world, the realistic nature of the world, different Earth, in amongst fantasy creatures. I think the youngsters will really enjoy that. And then adults will totally see, well, not just adults, but maybe teens and upwards will totally see that the reflection of the story, it's all about trying to bring all walks of life together and be an understanding of each other, that if we can come together, then we can make life better. And that is basically the outro theme of it, apart from your redemption stories, your love stories, your sacrifice themes, that kind of thing. It's basically, if we can work together, if we can trust one another, then things work out for the good. And that's a great thing to have now. It does feel somewhat preachy in moments, slightly, but I think it skirts the edge of that. But for the most part, they're just really taking you on this adventure with Raya. And I have to say, the design looks fantastic. I spoke a little bit about the colorization, but it is very, really vibrant. It does feel very larger than life. I'm doing this a lot with my hands because I'm trying to express what it looks like. That it's big, it's large, but it's also very character driven, which keeps the story really centered and keeps you engaged and emotionally, I guess, somewhat on the characters. You're rooting for them the whole way through. My favorite character is Tuk Tuk. There's this little kind of armadillo creature. You'll see it, and he becomes my favorite character. He, she, not sure, but very interesting character. I liked all of the creatures. I thought they were fantastic. The dragons as well, obviously, reminds me a little bit of Mulan. Also reminds me a little bit of the anime Dr. Stone. There's an imagination pulling from multiple storylines, but also feels very authentic to the story that we're trying to tell. Definitely an unsung hero, or definitely an hero. James Howard Newton, sorry, getting that right. The composer is that the score is definitely a character, carries the tone and the story that they're trying to tell throughout. I thought the ambiance, and especially when you get some of the drums and the very kind of culture specific music that goes along with some of the scenes, I thought was just fantastic and perfect. Reminded me of a little bit of Black Panther in that way. It just kind of brings up a tone that you expect to see in that sort of scene. It really sets up the mood. And then when you have those heightened adventures, that, you know, the big moments, the fight sequences, it feels great. And talking about the fight sequences, it is a PG, but there's nothing too scary apart from the bad in like formless purple shaped cloud things that turn people to stone. So if you have very young ones, you may want to watch it with them, but I would say like over 8, 10, depending on the disposition of your child, I think that'd be fine. It's very easy to watch. I don't know if it's my favorite Disney movie ever, but it's definitely up there. It's very enjoyable. Definitely one you could put on any point and just, watch little bits of it. I don't know if there's any dialogue that stands out for me that I'm going to be repeating. That's always a really good test for me, as in if it's like dialogue that a Disney film I've watched on repeat multiple times where I love quoting the lines. I think there might be a few, but not many. There are a few funny moments, but I guess that's not the sort of film that we're going for. It's just reminds me a little bit of Brave as well, actually. There's definitely kind of pulls those threads from so many avenues, I guess, but it's very, very enjoyable. The animation just, I don't know how much further they can push it before it just looks so live action. You don't know the difference. The animation looks stunning. The character design is so good. And like I said, the music is fantastic. I feel like the direction is done well because it's pulling all those threads. Obviously, when you're directing animation, it's slightly different. You're going to do the motion capture, you're going to do the green screen, you're going to do all those things that come into play when you're doing animation. The voice acting as well, and you've got to get what you need from your characters. And I feel like the voice actors in this did a very good job. You know who the characters are, you know the different types of characters that you're going to get, and so when they start becoming those characters you expected them, it just kind of settles into that zone. I would have liked a little bit more backstory about some of the side characters, but they weren't the protagonists, so they didn't really have time to go into that. Our two main protagonists, you will find out who they are very quickly, but I really like the side characters again. I tend to like side characters more than main protagonists normally, and I think for me this reminded me a little bit of Avatar. When you have Avatar and you feel his plight, but then you go into the Zuko storyline, and you're like, whoa, there's this massive redemption story arc. You're like, yeah, that's fantastic storytelling. I feel like they had a little bit of that in this. So let me know, is this your favorite, or what is your favorite new Disney film? So here's the part where I say, is it worth buying? Because obviously it's on Disney Plus and it costs, I think, like $15.99 or maybe more. I think it's $15.99 in the UK. Anyway, it costs much more. I do think if you were going to go to the cinema and watch this, you would take a couple of people, it would be a family outing, and so it would cost probably double what you're paying on Disney Plus. So if you justify it that way, then I think it's fine. However, if it's just you on Disney Plus, and then you have to spend another 20 quid, 30 quid, depending on for yourself, then you might be going, yeah, I'm just going to wait. But if you're with a family and you were all going to go to the cinema, I totally see that this is a better option. Staying at home, avoiding COVID, obviously, because the cinemas aren't open. So you might save a little bit of money, depending whether this is like with the amount of people that would have spent money on going to see this. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I think I would have paid for this film. I wouldn't have paid for Mulan, if the live action version, if that makes sense, but I would have paid for this. So that gives you the sort of enjoyment. So let me know in the comments below, which is your favourite Disney film. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.